Sometimes people say, but I don't make pictures inside my head. Really? No offense to anybody, but if you don't have nerve damage in your eyes from birth, you can imagine things. Now, everybody makes pictures inside their heads, but for some people, pictures may be out of awareness. In other words, they are so fast that you don't latch onto them consciously. For those of you, if there are people in the audience that you say, but I never make pictures inside my head, can you imagine a red rose? Think of a red rose. Imagine a red rose. Can you imagine your car? What color is it? Can you imagine the fireworks at New Year's? Everybody makes pictures inside their heads. It's called imagination. We imagine things. We imagine things and we see those things inside our minds. But as I said, for some people, those pictures are so fast that they're become out of awareness. So I promise you, you make pictures inside your head and you can imagine things. So just like that, I want you to imagine what's the last step that has to happen so you know you got your goal. It's very important. You need to have a picture. Now, once you have that picture, I want you to imagine stepping in your body in that picture, like you're looking through your own eyes in that picture. Now, in other words, you do not see yourself in the picture. You are in your body in the picture. If you start with the picture of the last step in which you see yourself, let's say, talking to other people, that's not good. And that's a key difference, by the way, between how we do it and other process. So I want you to imagine stepping in your own body and looking through your own eyes, talking to other people. Here you are, you don't see your body. And once you're looking through your own eyes, I want you to take the remote control or your TV, or as you play with, an app to change the pictures that you've just taken. And I want you to play with the color. And imagine that color is incredibly beautiful, bright and alive. And you see some of these little videos done by AI. The colors are vivid and beautiful and bright and are just magnificent. Just like that, I want you to modify your picture of the last step with those beautiful, bright colors. Now, as you do this, for most of you, this will make you feel better. It will give you a better positive feeling because you like it better. But a small number of people may say, no, I don't like it that way. Well, perfect. Then take that remote or the setting you have in your app and make the colors less vivid. Make them more pastel. And notice if that gives you a better feeling. So which one it is for you that gives you a better feeling, that's why you go with. Now, are there sounds in that picture of yours? Now, in your mind's eye, as you imagine that picture, first of all, where is that picture? Is it far away from you? Is it close to you? Is it all around you? Do you see it in front of you? What if you imagine bringing it closer to you? In your mind's eye, it's a process of imagination, yeah? In your mind's eye, imagine bringing it closer to you. Not too close, but just closer to you, and notice if by that, it gives you a better feeling. For most people, when they bring it closer, they go, yeah, I can relate to it better. I can see it better. It feels better. Good. Now next is to imagine that picture very sharp. Like imagine that focus is incredibly sharp and the picture is beautiful and bright. Not bright so that it's over the top, yeah? But increase in your mind, imagine that it increases the brightness. Increase the brightness and notice if it gives you a better feeling. If you don't like it that bright, then tone down the brightness. Make it a little bit less bright. Now, is that picture in your imaginary screen in your mind, is it up on the screen? Is it down? Is it to the right? Is it to the left? What is it? And if you take it and put it right in the middle, right in front of you, is it better? Does it give you a better feeling? So now it's close to you. It's nice and bright, it's colorful, sharp focus, and it's in the middle, right in front of your eyes. Does it give you a better feeling? Because if it does, leave it right there, the way it is. If it doesn't, then move it a little bit to the right, play with it in your mind. It's your imagination, you can do whatever you want in your mind, right? So move it a little bit toward where it was. Maybe it was a little bit to the right, put it there, wherever it gives you the most positive feeling, that feeling of, I really want this. Now, one more question. Is that picture of yours as a movie? You see it as a little video, as a movie? Or is it just a still picture? If it's a still picture, see if it feels better if you make it into a movie. If it's a movie, try to see if it's a still. Which one gives you the better feeling? If you try something and you don't have a better feeling, put it back the way it was. Again, you can do this. It's just in your mind. Good. Now, here is another point that makes the difference between this process and traditional goal setting. I want you now, pay attention, this is very important. I want you now to step out of your body. Imagine like you're stepping out of your body and leave your body in the picture. So now, after all these adjustments that we've done, I want you to leave your body in the picture. So now you see your body in that picture of the last thing that has to happen. So you know you got your goal. This is very important. Okay, good? Perfect. And now we're going to do a process of active imagination where in our mind's eye, we're going to imagine we're going to take the picture in our hands, just like this. And we're going to imagine floating above the timeline. So with the picture in our hands, we're going to imagine that we're going to float above the timeline. You're going to float into the future. Now you've got that concept of your timeline stretching from past to the future in a line. So you're going to imagine floating above that line, as high up as you feel comfortable, into the future, right above that time that you said, I'll have it by such and such a date, yeah? Right above that date where you said you want your goal to happen, remaining above the timeline, okay? So go ahead and imagine you take that picture in your hands and float above the timeline. Just imagine. It's like you are getting into a hot air balloon, yeah? Floating above the timeline, and you're floating right above that time. The date, the specific date where you said you wanted the goal to happen. Good. Now you're above the timeline. Stay there. Stay there. Now, here we're going to do a metaphor, a symbolic process. We are going to, with our breath, we are going to enliven this picture. We're going to do 4 breaths of air, of actually life force energy into that picture so that picture comes alive. And we're going to do it like this. First, let me demonstrate. In through the nose and out through the mouth with the sound from here. Now, with each breath, we're not just going to breathe, no. It's purposeful, yeah? So the intention is, with our life's breath, to enliven that picture. So as we do breath 1, 2, 3, and 4, we notice that that picture really comes alive. We are enlivening it with our life's breath. Ready? So imagine you are floating above the timeline in the future, above the date. And let's do it together. In through the nose. Good. One more breath now. Good. Third breath. And the last one. Now, if you really have done this correctly, your picture should have now be alive. Maybe you're gonna see it shimmering, or maybe you're gonna feel tingling, excitement of, wow, I want this. This is really great. That incredible good feeling of accomplishment. Good. Now you are just above the date. You're imagining, in your mind, you're floating just above the date where you said, by which you said you want your goal to happen. Now drop the picture and notice how it floats all the way, and boom, it hits the timeline. And it inserts itself right there in the timeline. Okay? Notice how it inserts itself right there in the timeline. I'm gonna give you a moment. And now I want you to notice the events in your timeline, all the events in your timeline from that date coming back to now, reevaluate themselves to support the accomplishment of this new goal. And I want you also to notice, that's not all. I want you to notice all the events from then in the future. All the events from then in the future that also reevaluate themselves to support the accomplishment of this goal of yours. Just notice that. Good. Now, one more thing, stay there. So you're still floating above the timeline, above the date by which you said you wanted the goal to happen, right? And your goal is in the timeline. Do you have any doubts? On a scale, say to yourself in your mind, on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being no doubts at all, I'm going to get this no matter what, absolute certainty. And 10 being totally uncircled, well, I don't know, I don't think so. Yeah. On a scale from 0 to 10, what's the level of certainty you had that your goal is going to happen the way you want it? Give yourself a number, say a number in your mind. Trust your intuition. Well, 7, 8, 9, 5, whatever it is. Good. These are your doubts. These are doubts. Make a note of that. And let's now imagine you're floating back above the timeline, all the way toward now, and come back in the now, in your body, in the now. Make sure you're all the way back in the now, down in your timeline as a normal course of activities. Then welcome back. Now I want to discuss about this issue of doubts. See, if you insert doubt in your future timeline together with your future goal, you are going to get those doubts as well. Now, the easy thing is that doubts are limiting decisions, and if you know how to do timeline therapy, just do timeline therapy, limiting decisions, let's go of those doubts. That's easy. If you haven't done timeline therapy, then I want you to spend time thinking, okay, these doubts are coming from where? Oh, I got a belief, I never get what I want. That's a belief. That's a limiting belief. And again, timeline therapy can help you let it go. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen, and it doesn't depend on me, and I can't do this. These are all examples of possible doubts. Let's talk a little bit about this certainty thing, because there is something you can do even if you're not trained in timeline therapy. So let's take an example. Let's take something that everybody has. When you went last time, let's say today or yesterday, It depends what time it is, wherever you are in the world. In your kitchen, how certain are you that there was a stove in your kitchen or a microwave, some cooking appliance in your kitchen? How certain are you on a scale from 0 to 10? Now, I would assume that if you have a kitchen, you'll have some sort of a cooking appliance in your kitchen. So your certainty should be 10. If you're sitting on a chair, how certain are you that beneath you there is a chair? These are silly examples. They may seem silly to you. But what I wanted, the purpose of noticing something that you're 100% certain is to notice what's the feeling that you have when you're 100% certain of something. Because just prior to asking you this question, I said, notice what's your level of certainty. If you have doubts, and you may say, but I don't know if I have doubts. Well, this is how to figure out. So stay with me, okay? Back to where we were. So I asked you, how certain are you that there is a chair beneath you, or that last time you went in your kitchen, there was a cooking appliance there in your kitchen? And I want you to notice the feeling. If you are certain, 100%, yeah, there is a chair beneath me, or yeah, I do have a cooking appliances and I'm absolutely sure it's in my kitchen. Absolutely sure gives you a certain feeling. Now, how certain are you that that cooking appliance, so last time you used it, let's talk of this, still past tense. Last time you used it, how certain are you that it worked? Well, if you cooked your food, it worked, right? So again, you have that certain feeling. I want you to pay attention to how does it feel like when you are 100% certain of something. Good, so that's all in the past. Now, how certain are you that that cooking appliance, being a stove or a microwave or whatever, will work tomorrow? Uh-oh. Now, some of you may go, oh, yeah, I'm sure it will work because it's nothing wrong with it. Good for you, that's 100%. But for some of you, maybe, well, I don't know. Appliances break, right? Appliances do break. Now, notice that when you're not 100% sure anymore, you have a different feeling, don't you? Because now you're not certain anymore. And my point of all this, of you noticing your level of certainty about the goals that you have in the future, is the following. When you are as certain that something in the future will happen as you are about something that has happened, then that goal in your future shall come to pass. Let me say that again, just in case you missed it. When you are as certain that something in the future will happen as you are about something that has happened already, then this thing in the future, or that thing in the future, shall come to pass. And you're going to say, Adriana, you're crazy. How do I know that's going to happen? That's right, you don't, because the future hasn't happened yet. The title of this presentation has to do with this specific process in timeline therapy called creating your future. We create our futures with our minds, not because of hocus pocus. No, but when we set this in place, we tweak and we change something in our minds, and our behavior follows along. Now, again, you're going to say, you're crazy. How would I know? It does depend on you or me, etc., 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 right? No, you don't. But here is the thing. You all watch sports, right? I mean, we do. There is the game between Team A and Team B, right? And Team A has to be on top of the league, and Team B happens this year to be right at the bottom. But they have to meet and play against each other next weekend. And you happen to be the coach of Team B. which are the last, right? They didn't have a good performance, so now they're last in the league. Now, what would you say to your team? Hey, that's going to be terrible, it's going to be miserable, we are going to, lose, and we're going to be the laughing stock of everybody, and it's terrible, we're playing these good guys, and whoa. Is this what you're going to say? Not if you're a good coach. I mean, if you say that, probably they'll fire you immediately. No, what are you going to say? We can win, right? That's what you're going to say if you're a good coach. Because while you say this, in the minds of your team, you're going to create images and pictures of winning. We can win. Actually, the word upset that is used in the league is a word in the English language that is used when the worst team beats the best team, because it has happened many times. It's called an upset. There is even a specific word. Mathematically, there is always a chance for the worst team to beat the best team in the league. The possibility and the probability of that happens is not that small either, by the way. What's the difference? Do you think that you will have a different behavior if you hold in your mind all your doubts? Why something that you want and you set the goal for cannot happen versus it can happen exactly the way you want it? Do you think your behavior will be different? Do you think you're going to act differently? Do you think you're going to think differently? Do you think you're going to feel differently? No, you don't know whether it's going to happen exactly the way you want it. The future hasn't happened yet. You are creating the future by your behavior, by your motivation, by your action. And that leads me to something else. There is another mistake, especially in the group of my new age friends, that think that if I just sit on the couch and meditate, I'll achieve all my goals because I attract them to me. And this comes from the law of attraction. By the way, the law of attraction is not wrong. It's just missing a point. Just meditating doesn't make it happen. You, yourself, still need to take action toward what you want. I hope this makes sense. You still need to do something about it. If you want that promotion, you got to take some action. Maybe you need to apply formally. Maybe you need to talk to your supervisor, your boss, your manager, even the CEO. If you want a new relationship, you have to meet people. If you sit on the couch and watch Netflix all day long, it ain't gonna happen. So the goal setting process in the timeline and the certainty issue are not a replacement for taking action. You still have to do something about it. Yeah, believe it or not. Now, another thing that I want to mention, which is extremely important, it's the issue of, and I'm going to share a slide with you here, the issue of paying attention as time moves toward your goal. Let me share the slide here. Okay, I want to share this slide. Good. I think it's on your screen. Good. So here you are, wherever here is in time space, and you're moving toward your goal. But you see, you need to pay attention. So let's say, as in my example, in which I just made up a date, you want your goal by 15th of August 2025. That's 8 months away. So at least half time, if not quarter time, you need to notice, are you moving toward your goal? Because if you are, and this is going to show you on the slide, if you are just 1% off, you may end up miles away. And this is very well known for those of you who fly aircraft. 1% off your target can lead you in a completely different place. So just by sticking a goal in your timeline, no matter how good you respect all the smart conditions, and you've increased, all the different qualities of the picture, and it feels really good as you think of it, and it's perfectly in your timeline. If you don't pay attention and you don't take action, and while you take action, you pay attention, am I getting closer? Am I moving toward the destination that I want, metaphorically, of course? Am I moving toward my goal exactly the way I want it or not? Because if you're off and you don't pay attention, it's not going to happen. Or it's not going to happen the way you want it. That's not good, is it? No, everybody says, I want the goal the way I want it. Of course you do. Of course you do. So, therefore, one more thing I want to share with you. One more thing I want to share with you. And that's the issue of obstacles. I mentioned this already briefly, and some of you may have caught it, some of you may have not. Here is another slide. Okay? Here is another slide. Here you are, whatever here is now, when you set the goal. And then, at the end of that arrow is your goal. Notice that, and again, I can relate better to those of you who fly aircraft. You know that you always maintain clear direction on your goal, but you pay attention. But your flight path is never, or very rarely, in bits and pieces of straight lines. Usually you are moving like that sine wave that you see there, going up and down, up and down. You are moving off course, on course, off course, on course. Now, why is that? Because as you proceed toward your goal, you'll hit obstacles. The fact that you defined something new that you didn't have before, a new goal, a new objective, a new level in your life, a new level of development, growth, whatever it is, a new job, a new financial goal, a new economic goal, a new relationship goal, a new health goal. If you didn't have any obstacles, you would have it already. But you don't yet. And the distance between here and your goal there is made out of different steps. Now, if I want to walk from here where I am to the door, and in between me and the door there is a chair and there is a light, if I go in straight line, I might bump into them. So I'll have to go around them. I have to go around the chair, then come back to the direction, then maybe go around the lamp, and then come back to my direction, and eventually I'm going to make it to the door. So will you in relation to your goals. You will encounter obstacles. That doesn't mean anything. Don't make the mistake that most people do, and they go like this, oh my God, I knew I cannot. Oh God. And the first obstacle they encounter, they sit down, cry, and they go, I knew I cannot achieve anything I want. No, that's the wrong thing to do. Don't be afraid of obstacles. Obstacles always happen. And I'm going to say something that you may have heard before, but I don't know if you registered. It's not by the achievement of the goals that we really grow. It's actually, let me stop sharing. It's actually by this road, by navigating and dealing with challenging situations, with the obstacles that we encounter, that we grow. We don't pay attention. In general, we don't pay attention to those. We don't like obstacles. We don't like difficulties. Of course we don't. But it is by those that we actually grow, not by the goals themselves.